And welcome to our bonus features segment. We've got some major anomalies to cover here. Check this out. Looking at the total electron content forecast, and we're seeing a huge anomaly happening here over the Caribbean. Check that out. North of Hispaniola there, we're seeing an enduring spot of electron flux anomalies. Check it out. Electrons are less absent. Less localized in that area. Let it play through another time here, right? Looking right in that zone right there, you're going to see a spot of low electron flux mixed into a huge high electron flux zone. So some interesting things happening likely there in Earth's magnetic field. Keep in mind, folks, electrons are like 1/1800th the mass of a proton. They respond promptly to magnetic fields. Here's a diagram of what we're looking at here. It's the Earth Van Allen belts diagram showing distances in miles. We also see some charging hazards here, surface charging hazards over the central Pacific there, north of the equator. Otherwise, pretty chill. We've seen a slight reduction here in the electron flux. That's the one-year chart from Solon.info. And here's the 3-day graph from the GOES 16 and GOES 17. And the GOES 16 flirted with warning levels there briefly. And I believe we're expecting a continued reduction here. So there's going to be some coronal hole winds on the way as well. So expecting a reduction here in the electron flux, at least according to NOAA. I have no reason to argue with that. Let's move on to the ionosphere. We're going to show you one slice, the F layer, which happens to be where the GOES 16 and 17 make their measurements for the electron flux. Here's the vibrational frequency of the F ionosphere. So those were some funky anomalies there over the Caribbean. And we've never covered anything like that before on the channel. Let's show the anomalogram as well. And we're seeing some wild swings here. So we're seeing high frequency anomalies and then sudden low frequency anomaly shifts. Some very low frequency zones there, especially in the southern hemisphere. This is showing anomaly in megahertz from the 30-day median. So huge anomalies happening there. And rather sudden ones, if you ask me. What are your thoughts on this? Let us know in the comments. So here's the latest image on the ionogram, 12:45 Universal Time. Certainly seeing some anomalies there. Major anomalies there, stretching all the way from the Central African continent all the way down to Antarctica. Continuing on, to remind you viewers to check out our homepage, smashamash.com. Did you know we're in the process of writing a paper to plausibly explain the mechanism underlying the solar sunspot and solar polar field reversal cycles? It's true, folks. It's true. Smashamash.com. You can find all kinds of links there to our merch and so on. Please support the channel via the Smash Team. We've replaced Patreon with something superior, and if you are on Patreon yet, we encourage you to move over to the Smash Team. We've only got 2 levels there, the gold and silver levels. And if you still want to continue supporting us on Patreon, that's fine too. We just don't put up content there because we want all our content in the same spot. So get additional content by becoming a member of the Smash Team at smashamash.com/Smash Team. Links below the video, as well as on the homepage. Next, I'd like to say to all of you, Universum Liberate. Now, we may not all be capable of being active members of the Galactic Federation Special Forces, but some of us are. So help us out by picking up merch. All proceeds go to Free Everybody. To quote Geddy Lee of the band Rush, if I could wave my magic wand, I'd set everybody free. The goal of the Galactic Federation Special Forces, and the motto is Universum Liberate. That extremely high-res design available at our merch shop. By the way, follow us on Twitter. More and more exciting stuff happening over there. We've only got 208 followers, and we're not trying to boost our followers. We're trying to create a network of space weather people who know what we're talking about. Thanks to everybody that follows over on Twitter, twitter.com/smashamash. I don't care who's been banned or deplatformed. It's a great site for networking. Next, ground-based solar observatory from Cerro Tololo, Chile. More fantastic ground-based imagery here. A bunch of filaments there in the earthly zone. And if we were still forecasting coronal mass ejections, well, I might actually have forecasted one. I just don't forecast coronal mass ejections anymore because we're not paid for it. Next, the solar intensitygram and colorized magnetogram. So sunspot 2941 is, in my opinion, still the most likely spot for major flares. We've got a new group rising over here. That's going to be sunspot 2945, I believe. Another one up here will be known as sunspot 2946 if it maintains that umbra for another about 10 hours. This is also a beta class group. And there's some complexity there. We could see flares from that region and that region as well. So lots of potential for large flares, folks. And these sunspots have largely been underperforming, so don't be surprised to see major solar flares, radio blackouts, and so on, despite seeing a reduction in the radio flux and so on. There's 2945. And to quote Einstein, never memorize something you can look up. I try not to memorize too many names of sunspot groups. It's sort of wasting space in my brain to do so. Yeah, your brain, it's not all that dissimilar from a hard drive. So here's the NASA GO-16 SUVI imagery. Ionized helium from this great wide field of view. And you can actually see a coronal mass ejection kicking off right here on the video. So that one looks like it's sort of headed off to the east, maybe the southeast. A little early to really tell. But there is some additional fascinating imagery here. So what a spectacular bonus feature segment this has been. It was somewhat unexpected. So as we say goodbye to some sunspots, we say hello to some new sunspots. If you're a new viewer, hello to you. Leave us a comment. Let us know how you found the channel, where you're located, what your background is, what you're into. Some more departing sunspots, and here are some arriving sunspots. 2945 is looking promising. It's got two rather large umbrae that are quite close together of opposite polarity. Here's the full disk view in this great wavelength. This is a composite wavelength here. It's 171 and 304 angstroms. That's the iron 9 and ionized helium ultraviolet wavelengths. Anyway, thanks for tuning in, folks. Don't forget to press like and subscribe if you enjoy the content. And may that solar wind be at your back. Opinions expressed in this video, not necessarily the opinions of Smash News Network, least posted name in news.